Hit games. It's you and me, baby. Hit games. And I can't take it anymore. Hey, buddy.
Hello. Was that the Bee Gees? What was that?
That was Foreigner, because we are reviewing this episode today called Love Games. It's season 5, episode 35 of Adventure Time. I am your host, DJ Nettie P.
And I'm your other host. Sorry, I was thinking of the song that I would have sang, which would have been Love Train, all aboard the Love Games. Anyways, I'm DJ Russ T, your other host, the one who's never seen the show before. This is a fun little episode. Ned, yes. I'm excited for this one.
Love Games.
I gotta say, I thought we were going to be adventuring. I was ready to get back into a good adventure or good...
back on the love train.
Get out of the love thing. And I think Vin was the same way. Vin was ready to stop dating these princesses, right? And start saving these princesses, which I love that Jake calls him out a little bit. It's just like, are you saying that just to like make yourself hotter? You know, like you're just saying that to make yourself like more eligible.
But don't we all podcast to do that, you know, just so we sound sexier? Right. I've got a great face for podcasting, you know, a great face for radio.
Nettie, the married podcaster, and Rusty, I hate that. Rusty, the soon to be married podcaster. Hey, you know, it seems appropriate. We are talking about marriage today. And I think we should start this off with, and I may have mentioned this in the past, so I do apologize if I'm repeating myself to all the travelers out there who are listening to this Adventure Time episode. And just, they know this little bit of mine, but I think we should review, at the very least, the reasons why you would get married in the first place, right? Now,
okay. Yeah.
I can think of 6. There are 6 reasons why you would ever get married. The first reason, pretty obviously, is wealth. I mean, you know, if one or both of you are married, or very wealthy, then you might get married. And I think that's a great decision.
We're watching a little show. That's my rec later on today. That's all about that.
Yeah, and I like my rec last week, which is probably going to be partially my rec this week as well. Bridgerton, it's also very much about that.
It's all about that quiche. Wealthy. All about that quiche.
Keeping the wealth in the family, you know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, the royal family often just very truly kept it in the family. But anyways.
F the plebes, man.
The second reason is land, I think, as we all would expect.
That combos into the first one, but wealth and land, you know, New York is certainly not land, but in Bridgerton it is.
Could be land or real estate. I mean, there's plenty of reasons why you would do it. And I do agree. It often does. And I think a lot of these can kind of cross-pollinate. Like one of you may have land and the other has wealth. Or the third reason, political gain. One of you might have a very politically advantageous position, and the other one wants to take advantage of that, and they have wealth to offer. So, of course, the third reason why you would ever marry someone, which is the reason why Ned married, was political gain.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm king of Chambly. I'm king of Atlanta now.
Yes, yeah, you are. Yep, all because of Jackie. The fourth reason is looks, and then that's self-explanatory. Yeah, and the
gotta get that reason, sex appeal on.
Right. The fifth reason is your younger, hotter sister married a mysterious road type to take over the kingdom. Oh, and also they're evil. That's a pretty good reason. And the reason we see in this episode why someone would marry somebody. And the sixth reason, not quite as important. I would say this is probably the reason why I'm soon to be married is love. But again, not as important as the other ones. The other ones are far more reasonable.
Far more important and reasonable. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. A love match, please. Love matches don't happen in this day and age. But regardless, I'm going for it.
I've got another list of 6 fun things as well as we dive into this episode in terms of, I love that you had a list of 6 and I got a list of 6.
You have 6 other reasons?
Not 6 reasons, but again, you're about to be married. I'm already married. And so how are we going to delineate who gets the keys to the kingdom here, Russell? And so I've got I've got 6 love games that we have to compete at. In terms of who is the better married couple. Okay. The is couples farting. Whoever can withstand as many of the other persons, your partner's farts.
All right. I think you have that one. I'll just go ahead and say that. So there's a nickname that Jackie calls you sometimes.
It's like poopies.
Poopies?
Low poops.
Don't know if it's related, but I definitely have never been called poopies by Allie. So
the second one I call the cringe resistor. That you have to be as weird and cringy in front of each other, and whoever caves first is the loser.
That's good. That's going to be a tough one. I think I can really make a run for that one. But
yeah, the third game does involve a judge, an elder plops, a DJ cowboy hat per se, but it's booty slaps. Whoever gives the best and withstands the most booty slaps wins.
All right, this is getting a little personal.
Yeah, but we got to make them. We got to have weird games. We got to have sexualized games.
Spooning was in one of the games, so it's fair. All right,
exactly.
What's the next one?
The fourth one is the ultimate blanket tug. Whoever gets the blanket bedtime battle.
Okay, so this is like a tug of war.
Yeah, but the winner is the one who can somehow battle it out and still be comfy in the bed. That there is a super small blanket. And there's a fight, and basically you watch somebody sleep, and if they're able to both fight for the blanket but both stay warm all night, they're the winner.
Okay, so it's just each couple is competing individually, kind of like a team time trial, if you were. It's not all four of us in a bed fighting over a blanket.
Not all four in a bed fighting. That's stretching it. That's stretching it a little bit. It'd be
what's next?
It's more of a time trial. Yes.
Sure. What's next?
These ones aren't as good, but we got the support test. Except for the support test is who can go on the most exaggerated, dumb rant about something totally trivial like bad coffee, a stub toe, dust bunnies in the corner, and the other has to support them without laughing or invalidating their feelings. Okay. And so whoever can actually give the most supportive answer is the winner.
That's good.
Or we're in the support in the most ridiculous situation.
Sure.
And the sixth is the grand romantic gesture. You have to do over the top romantic gestures using household items like toilet paper, balloons, flowers, dust bunnies, another one. Yes. And you have to create a grand romantic gesture out of you have to Mick Jagger the whole thing.
Yeah, Mick Jagger.
Sorry, MacGruber. You can Mick Jagger if you want,
dude. Again, I think MacGruber is the SNL character, is it not? Isn't it MacGyver?
Yeah, I thought my God, that's what it was. I went from Mick Jagger to MacGruber to MacGyver.
You got to Guillermo the whole thing. You got to Guillermo the whole thing. Put it together, be fake, be a slime ball.
But yes, that is
where does it even come from? Where do these come from? Are you just inspired by this episode?
Yeah, I was just inspired by this episode, and I was like, if we could just take this a step further, if we're going to be getting trivial about who's going to take over a kingdom,
who's taking over NEA?
Yeah. We got to get a little crazy here. So
I liked that we were 50-50 partners. I hate that one of us has to take it over. Can we? Can I backtrack what I'm about to do? And can you get a divorce and then maybe me and you marry?
We can make it happen.
Okay. That might be the only way.
And like you said, money, land, and political gain. That's right. All it's about.
Right. Because this podcast is lucrative. All right, let's get into this.
Absolutely.
Speaking of podcasts, I think Jake and Finn have a much better podcast than we do.
I love it. I love that we're doing the podcast. In this episode, they're opening up, talking about lady problems. BMO is the equivalent of DJ Cowboy Hat. Expect BMO's spinning more fun soundboard noises.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Freaking DJ Cowboy Hat doesn't even do that for us anymore. Now it's you doing it.
I know.
So. Making bacon pancakes.
I'm doing it. Look at that. I know. But Jake's purpose sounds like he is doing his efforts like he always does to get Finn's mind off the women, which it's kind of funny. It's just like we thought, I mean, it's only been a few episodes since Frost and Fire. We've seen him kind of go adventure episode, love episode, adventure episode. So we still see this one. He's a lot more broken up about it than we had thought. You know what I mean?
Well, he's getting over the romance business. It seems like he is ready. Well, he's not. I mean, he's probably kidding himself. Obviously, as I'm thinking about this and I'm talking, you have freaking Can't Get Over You, the song that he sings during the crooning challenge. Is pretty damn good evidence that he is not over Flame Princess, and he is very much faking it and maybe looking for a distraction and kind of hoping that a good adventure could kind of, get him back out there and get going. And think about a little less about like dating. Like sometimes like dating feels, especially when you're younger, like the most important thing out there that you could be doing is trying to find a partner. And I think sometimes it's good to focus on yourself. And I'm hoping that's where our boy Finn might be headed in a minute here.
And there's some other, he heads kind of in and out throughout the rest of the seasons. But when he's heading out, when he's kind of taking care of himself, one of the common themes and threads you will see with his character is that he does hyper fixate on distraction. He deals with some family stuff, and the way he deals with that is distraction. And so that's a very like common, I guess, semi-introducing a new Finn trait is that he's very, I'd like to push down my problems, and that's done by totally ADDing like the world.
Okay. That's fascinating. I mean, in this particular situation, he is attempting to find the adventure. He has a call to action, which is a call to marriage. And I will say it's an adventure, a never-ending one for sure. And so he's...
I don't really know. It's kind of funny when she says it's just on paper. She doesn't say anything about divorce at all either. She's like, this marriage will just be on paper.
Permanent.
And like, whoa,
on
okay.
Paper.
But, and maybe Finn sees that as an out. He's like, maybe if I'm married, then I don't have to.
So
think
that's
about
the avoidance there. That's
like the avoidance thing.
I like that. That's fascinating.
It's a possibility.
Well, the reason he's going to do it, of course, and the reason he goes through all of this is because of the evil implication of her sister. Like, if SP or Slime Princess wasn't going to lose her kingdom, there's no way Finn would entertain this in any way. He's not going to marry. I mean, truly, he should have just said, Ice King, you marry her. Like, that's fine.
It's kind of funny to me why. I mean, Jake I think is really over Ice King at this point, but that would have gotten Ice King out of their hair if he's they're crashing at his pad, and they would have gotten him out of Finn and Jake's hair. So
I do love that he's still there though. It's hilarious that all these episodes later, like in the song "Can't Get Over You," he talks about Simon's hair is in his like clogging up his drain.
Clogging up the drain. It's great.
It's good.
It's kind of it's a fun part of this season that's now a rolling joke that they get to like keep going back to, is that Ice King is, and I honestly should say Simon at this point. I feel like he's very Simon-y.
Right. He needs to be Simon.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's great though. Just the introduction. We know exactly what we're getting into. Blargatha is the evil sister. Guillermo is this slime rogue type. And when we're talking about they're going to come over and militarize the kingdom, conquest of the world. You see the Gumball Guardians just like wrecking havoc on the Candy Kingdom, which is so sick. And
then you peep that they were like looting all the other stuff from the kingdoms. In the Ice King's crown was in there. I think PB's crown was in there, of like the people throwing stuff in a bag.
Right.
So which is a very important thing to point out about like the importance of the crowns. In everything.
Yeah, they're going way out of the way specifically for that, to show that. And then the posters or whatever, the war posters trying to hype up the citizens, being like,
very Nazi Germany. Very Nazi Germany.
I hope that one, I mean, dude, I don't know what the Nazis used to try and motivate their citizens. If it was do it for your mom, that would be wild. I'm sure it was do it for your country or something,
do it for your mom.
Right. Terrible.
But, they did like those were taken from actual like World War II posters with like bomb planes like flying over like something. Like those were actual like propaganda posters in World War II.
Okay, that's
so that
crazy.
was the inspo for the Slime Kingdom's very militant direction that they can take.
Yeah. Huh.
But yeah, I love to take a moment to talk about the fact that I guess like Slime Kingdom jargon, the way that they have their words. It's Slime P, and that's a normal name. I want to know her real name. But Blargatha and Guillermo, Elder Plops, the Trials of Glarb, and this is where, what did she say? Where all of my main spurts hang out at. Splurts.
Yeah, which
splurts
I
hang out.
thought about looking it up in Urban Dictionary, and then I thought again and decided not to do splurts in the Urban Dictionary.
That's probably for the best. And
right.
And
for
also
fear what
this
we
is
would come across.
We get to the slime game, and it's a hypersexualized culture as well. I feel like it's all about clubbing, and her sister's like at the end is like, I'm just too sexy and hot. I'm like, man, these are like very creatures that are very
LSP-esque in a way.
Yeah.
The way she's talking about how hot she is and stuff. Though in this case, everyone agrees, or at least her sister agrees, like she is so hot.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and there's a fun episode through the Elementals mini series where you do realize that LSP's been hanging out in the Slime Kingdom for a while. So yeah, at some point, I love that you mentioned this feels like very LSP type culture, and it does like play out that she does hang out there for a while.
Well, the splurts are all on the ceiling in the disco. I feel like LSP would fit in like right there, just floating up. I mean, you have Tree Trunks and freaking Mr. Pig hanging out at the disco, as gross as that is. But for what it's worth, everybody deserves to get the groove on. So I'm not going to hate too much on Tree Trunks and Mr. Pig.
It's kind of cool. I like seeing that mentality for that. They're in the grasslands outside the Candy Kingdom, and that they're kind of allowed to go into other kingdoms and party it up, which is it's really the first time you see anything outside of the kingdom like being open. So I would imagine the Slime Kingdom is a lot more chill than the Candy Kingdom as well. With PB is really blocking people out, not letting people in. Like, I don't know if Mr. Pig and Tree Trunks can like stroll to the bar in the Candy Kingdom.
Well, what do you mean? Why do you think they wouldn't be able to do that? It seems like open border policy for the most part with the Land of Vu.
Maybe we just haven't seen it, and maybe I can't remember if in the future we do. I mean, and Mr. Pig was he was held captive in the Candy Kingdom. He wasn't just like chilling there. So I don't know. Let's be on the lookout for that again. Kind of others in the Candy Kingdom. Do we have anybody else, any non-candies that can just go and hang out there? But I'll be on the lookout for more Candy Kingdom episodes. Sure.
No, I mean, it's not something that even crossed my mind. I just assumed this isn't like the thing with like lumpy space, right? Is like that's in my opinion, or it surely seems like you have to go through a portal, a different dimension entirely. Mm-hmm. A lot more difficult to like the barrier of the entry just to get there in general. So I could imagine why we wouldn't see other like Candy Kingdom characters or just like Land of Vu characters just hanging out in a lumpy space. But someone like this, it just didn't even occur to me. Certainly wasn't shocked to see two of our favorites popping up for a dance.
Yeah, it's nice. Honestly, I like this appearance. There'll be some more annoying Tree Trunks episodes in the future, and this was a less annoying one.
Right, and as long as you know that the wasteland, like how you get into what is her kingdom called? The Slime Kingdom?
Slime Kingdom.
As long as you, again, sorry, first time watching the show, so figuring this out. This is our first time seeing the Slime Kingdom. But if you know that the way you enter there is through sinking in the wasteland, that's really all you need to know. There was no guards. There was no one stopping you from coming in. And even then, like they were just like walking through the Slime Kingdom, and Ven just assumed that the disco was like the castle.
Yeah,
he had no idea. She's like, this is the most important building in the entire freaking Slime Kingdom, which seems like the courtyard, the giant courtyard where they have the three podiums of the Elder Plops, and then Guillermo and Bargatha. Geez, what is her name?
Blargatha.
Blargatha. And then, of course, Slime Princess. Seems like probably a equally as important place to be in the Slime Kingdom, but I digress.
I mean, it's also, it's huge. I'd assume that because they're subterranean as well, they kind of don't really have a limit on space.
That's a good point.
They can kind of expand like crazy, kind of slime their way into other...
Like crazy? Like, what is the... How long does it take for a new slime to be born?
Yeah, it's something. There might be like a mother slime that keeps sliming out more slimes.
Oh no, I don't like that. Is that Slime Princess? That's what she's going to turn into.
She's going to turn into a mother. Well, actually, no spoilers. There's reverse that later on.
Reverse
it's not
that.
Like,
it's okay.
I'll give you a spoiler drop because we're talking about Slime Kingdom.
Sure.
Spoiler drop.
There's an episode where she basically becomes overly powerful Mother Slime, but there's like an ascension ceremony and people like absorb into her. Her slime people are like, think it's like heroic and they absorb into her as she gets bigger. And so it's kind of the opposite of that.
That's kind of awesome. I wonder, do they die? Well, whatever. We'll get there. We'll get there. Go too into it. Well, it makes me wonder as we were kind of talking about her position and if her job was to just give birth, which doesn't sound like it is. I was like, why would Blargatha even want this in the first place? Like, is she? Why is she evil? Why did she turn to evil?
I'm just really glad that you brought that up because that was kind of the only thing that bugged me about how this episode ended. Was Finn is like, yeah, this you faked it, you beat the trials, and then we caught you after you were talking about it. Somehow this, I don't know if it was a rumor because she tries to hit on our heartstrings and she's like, I'm just so lonely. You don't know how lonely it is to be hot.
Women don't want to talk to me because they're too intimidated and men are too scared. Like, I don't know, man. So she turns evil because she's in her own prison, the hottest, little sexiest prison you've ever seen in your life, I guess.
Hottest, sexiest prison.
I hated saying that. I'm sorry, y'all.
But it still bugs me because that still means at the core that there was some desire to take over the world. We see also that there's a room full of tanks. So whether or not this was put aside in secret for Blargatha to use, or just the freaking military of the Slime Kingdom just ready to go. They're also obviously a very militant society. They're ready to freaking go to war at any point in time.
Unless this is her private stash, let me say, I have some complaints because she has tens of tanks. She does not have hundreds of tanks. We didn't see thousands of tanks.
I don't know.
She has tens of slime tanks that shoot slime. We've seen Finn go sink into slime and be totally fine, just wipe it off, take a shower or whatever it was that he went through. And then literally he takes down the entire cannon of one of the tanks with a single barehanded karate chop. Yeah. These are not impressive vehicles. They're not taking over the Candy Kingdom with these 10 slime tanks that she has.
I didn't say it was a good military, but
they just are
very military. They have stuff ready to go. And again, my assumption that they're subterranean, I was assuming that there are other compartmentalized rooms with more tanks and bombs and all this stuff like that too. So I was like, there's obviously something where they are ready to go to war. Or again, it could have been in secret, but it's still the main point of this all is the way the episode ends is like, nah, Blargatha's fine. Like she's not going to go to jail. It's just like the contest is off. Like, bro, Finn needs to tell PB about this, that there's somebody in the Slime Kingdom that's ready to go take over. You're worried about Flame Princess.
Be aware of the evil, right? Like, isn't Ben's job to be like the right-hand man or the protector of the Candy Kingdom at the end of the day? So that is a little shocking that he's not sharing this intelligence. But I don't know. Like literally a single like Zergiak earclops is taking down these tanks. You know, like Finn could just run around karate chopping and it would take him, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe PB. I would assume PB knows this, and one probably has, just like the Flame Kingdom, even with Flame King, that she had like a truce going on, and that there's some truce with Slime Princess as well. That they're allied kingdoms, but just to know that there's an individual out there, just like Princess Bubblegum still knows the Flame King's out there, and to be aware of him, like we need to know Blargatha's on the map of.
Right.
Evil people.
I do. That scene is one of my tops, though, happens in it when he jumps into the tank and then he crouches and kind of inches himself forward and then punches Guillermo. It's he's got the hand like cranked back, just like ready to go. And then as he's doing that, he's just like, hold on, I got to get a little closer to him. All right, now I can punch him. And I just thought that was really goofy, like fun.
So that's your top
choice. Yeah, it's my tops of the. It's just a fun. Well, it's either that one or, and I didn't write it down, but whatever Jake says when they're knocking on Blagatho's door and they're about to come in, and then Jake just has some stupid like quip about like, yeah, a fish sandwich or some stupid thing like that. It was funny, but again, not enough for it to truly be my tops. Well, what is your tops of the episode if mine's so lame, Ned?
Yeah, I mean, my tops of the episode, I think, is Jake eating the popcorn, and he's like, how long until we get there? My popcorn's almost gone. And he's like, shrinks down even more. And he's like, no, never mind, I'm good. Dude, one of the best Jake powers so far, that he doesn't have a lot of food. He could just shrink down and make the food bigger. That's
until he goes
so
back
genius.
to normal size, and then he's like,
he's gonna be hungry.
Crap, I'm starving. But it was also very gross because when they go through the slime and he jumps inside of Finn's mouth, you see like straight up a bunch of saliva just slowly drip off of the popcorn when he comes outside or out of Finn's mouth after that. And I thought that was so gross.
Yeah, the popcorn's not necessarily the best anymore.
No, and also like how quickly popcorn dissolves. That's just nasty. It's just nasty.
And it's covered, and it's probably, I think by the time that they're all finished with this adventure, they have to be covered in slime or stankin' or some bit of being down. They got to be stankin' after being in the Slime Kingdom.
Well, that's certainly not the reason why. I was trying to figure out what it is in this episode, and it's not the stank, because Slime Princess is totally used to the stank at this point. Yeah. What is it that gives Slime Princess the ick for Finn at the end of this episode? Because she's down to kiss. She's super into it. You see, like, when he's getting out of the shower and, like, drying off his hair or whatever, she's just like, she even calls it, like, get your pretty face or whatever, like, up here for the courtyard. Like, she has something where she calls him pretty. And then when he's singing Can't Get Over You, she's super into it. Her eyeballs are, like, bubbly and just, like, in awe of his beauty. And I was like, maybe the spooning. I think the spooning is the one moment where I was like,
I actually have a factoid for you here. Yeah. And this is just a fact. It's a possibility. It's not quite a theoretically speaking, but it is a factoid.
Lay it on me.
Which comes from Prisoners of Love, back in season 1, when Ice King takes all the princesses. When she comes and meets Finn in the treehouse, she says she knows that she had crushed on Finn in the past. This may be a reference to the episode Prisoner of Love, where she said she would like to marry Finn. But in that episode, don't forget, Finn, I think, tries to disgust all the princesses by saying that he pees his pants in that episode. So there's a possibility that she pukes right at the end because she had that slight memory from the past, from Prisoners of Love, saying that Finn peed his pants. Yeah, it popped in her head.
Maybe so. I think it has to be the fact that he barfed in front of her. Like, that's got to be a pretty big turnoff.
Yeah, that she also was
to kiss.
Like, thinking about the barf.
Yeah. It's either that or like the entire episode, he is so not into her. I think over time that would compile and eventually give you the ick as well.
Yeah, if you know that somebody's like so not into you that you're like, she's
not attractive.
She's officially, this crush on Finn is dead. We know that, which is good. I don't like this. I don't like the lingering princesses are in love with Finn like stories, and there's a kind of grosser one later. Not grosser, but makes you feel icky on the inside. Finn just like wants to try to kiss a lot of princesses, and that's like one of the main. Another little spoiler for you, but
interesting that Finn wasn't into this one, because as we learned, the last episode, Finn was a blob, some sort of a weird.
He was a blob in some past
glowing
life.
Blob in his past life. So I don't know how that would work, but maybe part of him would be into it.
Yeah. Obviously not now. Maybe in the future. He's too hung up on the OFP.
Well, what'd you think of I know you went over like what our test would be or whatever for Kingdom of NEA, but the fact that Utter Plops, who is my lovely of this episode,
Oh,
not so
okay.
surprisingly.
Give me some sugar, baby.
Is that, hold on. Give me some sugar, baby. Is that the Lovely?
Yeah,
Why
that's
am I
our
not-
Lovely.
Okay. That just feels weird in this situation. Utter plop.
we just were talking about puking and kissing, and maybe that's
I know,
why.
Right. So John Hodgman is the voice actor for Elder Plops, or Judge John Hodgman, if you know the podcast. I think he's like a pretty like early in the game of podcasting kind of a guy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but anyway, so self-described coolest guy in the room, or well, at least Elder Plops is. He has this ridiculous tradition, or the slime people do, the Trials of Glarb, and the three. Is it always the three trials? Is the Trials of Glarb a trial of like marriage battle or whatever, or is it just like this is what Elder Plops decided would be the challenges of, or the Trials of Glarb in this situation?
I would assume that it is because Slime Princess references it as these ancient traditions or don't apply to our high self-indulgent society, as she puts it, that these have to be probably set in stone. That's what my assumption would be, that you wouldn't really have anything ancient tradition wise if it wasn't following a rule book that was written down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. Do you have a favorite of the three challenges? The crooning, the spooning, the smooching? I
think spooning is going to be my favorite, because that's crooning and smooching. Kind of, it's like cool. You could say, how good can you sing a love ballad? Good. How good of a kisser are you? Spooning, in my opinion, it's, you gotta, who's the big spoon? Who's the little spoon? I think if Finn had been the little spoon, this would have been a lot better. So Finn might have been.
If Finn had gone Little Spoon, he might have gotten some real props from Elder Plops.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It might have been the way to go.
That's kind of a little curveball. And the fact that Florgatha was hopping around the bed with Guillermo, which is basically like jumping around the bed with a body pillow and making little noises that I thought would be a reference in my factual lookups. Yeah. It sounds like, if you don't know Vivi from Final Fantasy.
No.
The Vivi's a character, and then Final Fantasy in Kingdom Hearts, and there's some Vivi battles, and Vivi makes those exact same noises like while doing the attacks, and it's like,
that's great. Well, Finn
I thought that was a fun reference.
Finn makes it super weird because he's running away on the bed the entire time, which also, plays into the like maybe giving her the ick. Like he's really being ridiculous. Like it's just spooning. Like literally,
observation though, that Finn is not. He doesn't even stray away from kissing very much because he's kissed Flame Princess in the past.
Sure,
he doesn't stray away from crooning because he loves music, and that's a good. And he is able to kind of fake that one. He was not able to spoon the Flame Princess.
Oh,
so like that would be something again that's like spooning is more foreign to him than kissing,
right?
At the end,
and
of the
also
day.
How aggressive Blorgatho was with it. I almost don't blame him too much. But what did she say to Guillermo at the end? I love you, baby. You spoon so good. That cracked me up. That was so funny. Elder Plops, for some reason, considers what they did, hopping around on the bed, way off the charts good, which I think is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
because I've never seen or participated in spooning. Like
I wouldn't know how to judge a spooning competition. I don't think that there's I don't know the benchmark of it. So
right. No, I think I lose that. I mean, I was going through this in my head of the Trials of Glarb. Like, which do I win? Could I win? Which do I lose? I obviously lose at crooning. I mean, we all know I'm terrible at singing. Apparently, I would lose at spooning because I've been doing it wrong my entire life. I had no idea that that's what went into spooning.
Oh, from hopping around the bed. Yeah, if that was the best definition of it. Then,
right.
Yeah.
And I think if my competition is these two couples, I could probably win the smooching, especially because, Finn and Slime Princess, they can't kiss. They're blowing chunks. So when there, and then Guillermo has a sore throat. So obviously he can't be kissing either. So I think...
it's essentially, it's like her making out with a body pillow, which is gross.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Guillermo's not real. That's right. I forgot.
Guillermo's not real. Right, that's right. He's just a blob. He's
just a blob and some olives for eyes.
I feel like I had to take a moment while talking about the Trials of Glarb too, about Blargatha's song itself. Was her last line of the song, "So we can get Do Not Disturb"?
Yeah, maybe later we can get Do Not Disturb.
That I was like, whoa, they snuck that one in as a joke. That's like throwing out, maybe we can literally put the Do Not Disturb sign on a hotel bedroom. Like, oh my gosh, like that is she's freaky. She freaky. She knows she hot and sexy.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess she does. I mean, it does escalate pretty quickly, right? It's like, I want to touch your hand with my hand, rub your cheek with my cheek, and then straight to the Do Not Disturb.
Straight to Do Not Disturb. She knows what she's
they do
about.
things a little different in the Slime Kingdom, dude.
I know.
Like,
That might be above 3 cray. That might be more than 3 cray at that point.
That's why, man. I mean, if that's how relationships are in the Slime Kingdom, like the disco must be more cray than what we saw. We must have seen, I think what we saw, because it was daytime outside, we saw like that is
daytime party.
Hype disco during the day. Just wait till the night goes, or the sun goes down. Just wait.
Just wait
getting real cray.
Just getting real cray, above 3-star cray.
Yeah, Guillermo, his kingdom doesn't even have a disco with 1 cray. So
exactly. That's that'll play into my lessons later. I can tell you that much too. But
oh yeah,
man, I only really had one deep thought about this episode. It's not even super deep. It's more of like a real world observation per se. But it's kind of funny that this is the Trials of Glarb and some ancient thing, and it's about couples competing to be the better couples. And I thought it was funny that, it's laughing. We're laughing at it because it's spooning, crooning. I mean, we see people do this every day in society. I think way more prevalent with like Instagram being such a window into making a relationship look perfect. And I think that there's kind of this innate sense that we're always competing. We're not competing for the title of like a crown or a kingdom or land or money, but there's always this, I don't know, innate feeling to want to feel like you're the better couple than someone else. So posting a better picture, do you hold hands more in public? Or is there more PDA in public so you look like you're more in love with people? I think that weirdly enough, not all the time, like I think that if whatever your love language is, you do that with the other person. I think that people that get overly touchy in public, that get overly like sweet with each other around other people, you can tell it's fake, and you can tell that they're playing the love game to like win other people's affection over as a couple. I
can see that. I mean, I certainly think some people are just that way. Like some people are just
of course, and that's why I'm not hating on PDA or hating on being sweet with each other. But I think people fake it. They Blargatha it up in public to be like, I'm gonna win whatever status competition that I'm trying to win.
On a personal level, I mean, talking about the Instagram posting and all that stuff, like, and noticing this about other couples in public, is this something that does like you think about regularly, or is this something that bothers you, or like the game of like trying to position? Not that y'all are doing that ever. I've never noticed it, certainly, but like, is that something that concerns you or something?
No. It's not ever like top of mind. It was more of like my observation out of this episode. Again, not anything that triggered me or anything like that.
Right.
But more of like, man, you know what? I have been annoyed by some couples that like when you're out and about and you're like, dude, you talk to or the girl may talk to my wife all the time about like couple problems. And then you go out to dinner and they're being all like cutesy fartsy with each other. And I'm like, I don't, based on what I hear or based on like, I can feel, I don't know. I can just feel inauthenticity in some people's actions,
Yeah, no, totally. And it's of course never our place to say anything about it or whatever. And who knows what they're going through. And I think every relationship has highs and lows, and like you go through peaks and valleys. So I guess you never really know where someone is in any given situation. But I do agree. Like I think I'm not a very PDA person, certainly. And I really don't ever think to or spend time to like post about my relationship on Instagram, and it's for no lack of like care for my partner. It's more of just like it's not really something that crosses my mind, or when it does, I forget to do it before I end up doing it. Like I was like, because I was thinking the other day, I was like, well, we just went through several holidays, and I haven't posted on Instagram in probably like my personal Instagram, not our NEA Instagram. Gosh, months. Like who knows how long it's been since the last time I posted a photo or something like that. Like I'll do stories and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think because of that, I could be, maybe I should be more intentional to do it, because even if it's not a competition that me and my partner are fighting for or pushing for, or like we're trying to impress anybody, but I do think it's a sign of affection that like she would appreciate sometimes.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where if that's like a love language, if it's appreciated by the other party, then those actions, the trials of Glarb, should be done in showing love to your partner, not done. The thoughts of Elder Plop should not matter effectively. That's why there's nothing wrong with lack of doing it. There's nothing wrong of overdoing it. Like, again, overdoing it is a total opinion. It's a matter of, is the intention behind it to gain the favor of Elder Plops, or is it to gain the favor of your partner? And I think that's when, it's not for me to judge, but everybody does a little bit in the back of their mind and be like, I hope I'm not the Elder Plops in this situation, and you're trying to impress me by this, because I'm really not. But if it really makes that other person feel special, go and croon them with a bad song, go and be yourself,
And with like my friends, like I'm like, I don't know, man, if something feels weird or something's off, or like I see that dissonance of like what you're saying, like they're saying one thing and then they're showing another thing. Like, I think all that does in me personally is just brings me concern, because I think I feel very fortunate that my closest friends, I feel, have all ended up in really great relationships, and I really enjoy their partners, and I would hate for anything to disrupt that. So like that's kind of where my mind goes first. I'm just like, oh no, like stop it, y'all. Like it reminds me of like when your parents would like nag in front of you, and it's like, no, stop. Like y'all are supposed to be in love. What is happening? Why are y'all nagging right now? Like just be parents and be cool. And, and you're not supposed to be like little kids that are fighting. Like that's what me and my siblings do. Regardless,
and trust me, that none of that was any bit of me throwing shade or judgment on anybody or any couples.
You're calling me out right now, Ned?
Yeah, calling you out, brother.
Oh, dude. Here's the thing. Allie's going to be real shocked when I show her what spooning is.
I'm going to flip her around like a flapjack in the bed tonight.
She'll be like, wait, what is happening? And I'm like, I saw it. I saw it in Adventure Time. It must be real.
They said this is the way. Said it was the way. And I live my life purely based on Adventure Time law, too.
So maybe I learned in this episode that I learned what spooning truly is, which I think probably goes for all of us. I also learned that I should empathize more with the extremely hot. Blargatha couldn't help but turn evil. Like, it's not on me.
That's it.
I shouldn't be judging a book by her cover. Just because she's hot doesn't mean she can't be evil, right? Like,
does that mean
she couldn't help it? She couldn't help
the lesson behind that is the hotter you are, the higher likelihood that you're evil?
It could be. I don't know if that is the lesson, but it certainly could be. I mean, Marceline is a vampire queen, and also
she's your sexy character. So
she's often a sexy character. Ned, the other thing I learned is that we need a little bit more democracy in the land of Ooh. And it's just how I'm feeling right now.
Too many people trading husbands and spouses and getting married for power, essentially.
Yeah, too much of that, certainly. And there's just too many kings and queens and princesses and princes. And I think I'm just ready for someone to get voted into a position of power.
I'm not going to spoil too much, but you will get that later. There is some democracy that plays out, and it's not for the betterment of the people. And we will have a great conversation around that, especially given that it is post inauguration day today when we're recording this. So
I know
we'll get to that character and that storyline. I think every listener out there that's watched the show knows what I'm talking about with a democratic process in Adventure Time that doesn't play out too well.
Sure. Yeah, man. How brave of us also to show restraint when discussing the World War II imagery in this episode. All right, let's move on. Ned, what's your lesson?
My lessons of this episode are the only way to prove your love is through rigorous challenges against other couples. That's what I learned. Also, I don't get out of bed for clubs that are rated less than 3 cray. That's definitely something I learned.
There's only one in the land of ooh, dog.
Yeah, there's only one, and that's where I'm clubbing. But
that's where
the true lesson is the true love can't be faked. It's all about what goes on with each other, not in front of others. So that's my wrap it up warm little DJ Nettie P message.
That's lovely. Ned, I want to do a real quick traveler's vlog. This would be just a quick discussion. It's something that we've touched in the past, but I thought it was a nice.
Yeah, I love
when we get them, so let's do it. So today's traveler's vlog comes from Sebastian. We're going to call him DJ St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, because they start this off. My name is Sebastian, resident of St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. And when me and Allie read this, we both said, wait, what? And
wait, what?
I had literally had to Google it. Allie thought this was a fake place that he created. And I kind of did too. It's in Canada.
I know Newfoundland's in Canada. Newfoundland.
And Labrador, the Labrador is what threw me off.
That would have thrown me off, absolutely.
Anyways, I've been listening to your podcast recently, and I've been enjoying the review you guys give of Adventure Time as a whole. I wanted to ask you guys a question in particular. Do you think Jake could stretch to the point of covering the whole planet? It's a bit extreme, Ned. What planet are we talking about? We're talking about the land of Ooh, or the planet of... What is the planet of Ooh? It's just Earth,
It's
right?
Earth. It's Earth, yeah. It's Earth.
But it certainly seems
3,000.
pretty small based off of every map I've ever seen of Ooh.
Well, and I still think it's Earth. The land of Ooh, I think, is more of like a chunk of land, and there's ocean around it. So we can assume that Ooh is not is more of like one country on the planet, and possibly everything else is gone.
Which I would love. Oh, okay, good point.
But I'm not, again, no spoilers.
I think we have to assume that he can't. I mean, I have seen no evidence that would. The episode about the limit or whatever that was called. Like there was a pretty clear point at which Jake could no longer stretch, and he wasn't expanding. He was stretching straight, and he was going all over the place. But it wasn't like his body was covering that entire castle or wherever he was.
Yeah, I think we see Jake strain a fair bit of times in terms of stretchy powers. The limit is the episode that I would say is absolutely kind of why I don't think Jake would be able to swallow the planet or just the land of Ooh overall.
Mm-hmm. Is there a point where Jake becomes more powerful later?
Unless we
spoilers, let's not get into it.
No. So there's no spoilers, but unless I think we take it back to like a season 1, theoretically speaking, of when we said, does Jake eating when he goes to the ice cream marathon and he's eating the ice cream out of the pigs? They're fighting the pigs and they're eating the ice cream out of the pod plant or whatever. I think our theoretically speaking there was like, does Jake get more stretchy powers or is more powerful when he's full? And then we've seen him not be able to stretch in certain instances, and a lot of it has to do when he's hungry or weaker. So we were like, one of our I'm not even going to call it house canon, but theoreticals was maybe if the world was made out of ice cream, could Jake eat the whole world? Maybe that would be the only instance, as I think he could eat the land of Ooh, he could eat the world if it was made of ice cream. I think that's possible. So maybe Jake can eat the Candy Kingdom. Maybe that's the extent of his stretchy powers.
But see, I even thought, thinking back to the Traveler's Log we had recently about, was it Web of Lies, right? Where he's stuck in the web. It's like, could he not stretch out of there because of how he was stuck or whatever? Like he's eventually going to hit spider webs and other things that would restrain him. I think what we've always seen, I think our reasoning for that is simply like he shows restraint or lack of care because he doesn't need to, because it's not a life or death situation and he needs to let Finn grow. But regardless, could he stretch to cover the entire planet? I have no evidence for that he could.
Yeah, possibly. I don't think so. I think
like
unless our house canon, unless our theory proves true, I think it'd be a no.
Yeah, regardless, I think it's a fun thing to contemplate and think about a little bit. I always, even if it's one that we've kind of touched in the past, I think it's fun to look at it from a slightly different perspective regardless. So thank you, Sebastian, for writing in. That was awesome. And from writing in from Canada. because it's great. It's just great, Ned. I love that we have Canadian listeners.
We've got Canadian listeners from Newfoundland. I love it. I love it. But do you have any, as we're getting out of the episode and we're unblargathing ourselves, do you have any recommendations for this week?
I do. It's a little bit of a follow-up, a rec follow-up, which is Bridgerton. I finished Bridgerton. It holds up. It's good. I really enjoyed every bit of it. The last season, that there is a... you eventually find out who Lady Whistledown is, which I'm not even going to go into it if you don't know. I don't know. You've never seen it. Anyways, eventually that's revealed. I personally am not the biggest fan of who that ended up being. However, after I got over that, the rest of this season and the next season, really, I think that was second season it gets revealed or whatever. It's good. I like it. It's good TV. The show, there's no killing. I still wish there was some killing.
No killing.
I wish there was a dragon or two. It's just not Game of Thrones. I got to get over that. We are watching Queen Charlotte right now on Netflix, and it is very good. It is getting a little too real for me at the moment with the king's mental state. So it's just a little heavy sometimes, but it's not that it's bad. It's just a little heavy sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it. Check it out if you're interested in got the hot goss of like a fake 1700s England. Bridgerton. It's
this it bodes well for my recommendation if you say it like that, because I think my recommendation this week is Gossip Girl.
Oh yeah,
we were binge watching it on Sunday with you guys in the morning, and
yeah, we were.
We kept it on all day, and I kind of played on my phone a little bit, listened to it in the background, and then kind of started like being. I had caught up on a couple of characters, and now, dude, I'm freaking. We're almost done with season 2. I'm like, we got sucked in hard, and I was like, dude, it's not as bad as I ever made it out to be in my mind, and it's so petty drama, and it's also so these people are just like rich folk in New York, and it's so unrelatable that anytime anything bad happens to a person, I'm like, yeah, fuck them, like let's go, like, they deserve it. So,
well, I think we need to start our second podcast, Gossip Guys, right? And then what was it? We were talking about Gilmore Girls as well. We could do Gilmore Boys or Gilmore Guys.
Boys.
I don't know. Yeah, the Guys podcast, Gilmore Guys. Anyways,
I know. I think Gilmore Guys broken down from two guys' perspectives that have never seen it would be absolutely phenomenal podcast.
Maybe I think no one would care, and maybe that's the point.
Maybe that's the point. I don't know. There's a lot of Gilmore Girls podcasts. Just probably a lot more Gilmore Girls podcasts than there are Adventure Time podcasts.
Look, I would be more than happy to go into a show like that and just bring controversial opinions constantly, and not like in a political way.
I would just get rabidly drunk
on things that people love.
Rabidly drunk each time. Every episode that we discuss, and we bring up controversial opinions after 3 glasses of whiskey. That's probably how it'd be done.
Maybe one day we'll have a drinking episode of the Patreon where we could talk about Gossip Girl or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Ned, I don't think I'm going to be drinking anytime soon, because we went to karaoke this past weekend and had one or two too many sojus with you and
we
Jack.
drank a lot of soju at Korean karaoke. So
pretty fun.
But maybe that's the once every 5 year kind of night. So.
Yeah, once every 5 year. For sure. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. Check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/neverendingadventurepodcast. Last week, we talked about Disney favorites. And then, Ned, I'm drawing a blank. What is the one that we're about to post? Gosh darn it. Well, I'm drawing a blank, so maybe I shouldn't even say. Regardless, there's another one we're about to post. As we freaking recorded it last week, and I can't remember what it was about. It was good. Video games that deserve a sequel. It was so good. I loved the concept. Oh my gosh. Yes. It was great. It was really great. We talked about like games that like should have gotten another video game in the series, and then like what features you would add or improve on. Super fun. Like honestly, one of my
games
favorite
that deserved, I mean, at minimum like a remaster, but also should have some follow up on how it ended.
Right. Yeah. One of my favorite like Patreon episodes we've done so far, despite the fact that I couldn't remember what it was now that I've seen it. It was awesome. But y'all, patreon.com/neverendingadventurepodcast, Instagram, check us out. Never Ending Adventure Podcast, TikTok, Never Ending Adventure Cast, Twitter, NEA_podcast. Email us your thoughts, your opinions. Get on the Travelers Log at nea.travelerslog@gmail.com. That's Travelers with one L for those of you in the UK. And thanks again for joining us on another great episode. This was one that I did not expect to go 54 minutes on.
Yeah.
But Ned
made it happen, as always.
Made it happen.
Yeah. As always, I loved you guys.
Yeah, of course. And party forever.